Here's today's edition of Weather to Watch. Over the next couple of days, next week or so, we've got all those hazards showing up on the map. A combination of fall and a little bit of wet weather, too, and some wind all showing up in the forecast. Hi, I'm meteorologist Ted Keller. Welcome to Weather to Watch. We'll take a look at the visible satellite loop, and we're seeing sunset come into the northeast as we look at two swirls in the atmosphere, one very obvious here and another one very obvious right here. Those are low pressure centers at the surface. We'll dive into those here in a minute, but I wanted to look at the upper level flow first. This is 500 millibars, and this is really quite a dynamic pattern, really, starting to get a little more interesting as we get into the cooler season, into closer to winter. And one thing is when these red lines are packed as tight together as that, we are no longer in summer anymore, not in Kansas anymore, right? So the tighter these are, the faster the wind is blowing. So we have this arc of weather right here. Not very much actual weather in that, a couple of showers, some crackles of thunder up there, and then this system right here. And are these upper level systems connected to lows at the surface? Often they are. In this case, yes, indeed they are. We have one low up there in Minnesota, and there's a warm front attached to that one. Another low has occluded, meaning that the cold front, which is this, has caught up to the warm front. There's the intersection point right there, the triple point. And then an occluded front is just where the air is completely displaced upwards by the combination of both of those fronts. So that's happening, and I just wanted to let you know that high pressure controls the southeast pretty good. Most of the west is pretty quiet, but what's going to happen to these lows? Well, it's the time of year now where we can actually look at low pressure centers. Summer, we don't see a whole lot of intense low pressure areas, but just looking at the models and how they're plotting where these two lows will go. This one is going to travel east-southeast through the northern Great Lakes states. This one's already occluded, so it's actually backing up, and these two are going to kind of interact over the next couple of days up in the northeast. Otherwise, no significant areas out here or down in the south. Nothing tropical showing up either, and we'll talk about that at the very end. Well, on the cool side of things, we have various freeze warnings in effect. The Denver area, also kind of the northwest corner of Colorado, just kind of scattered about north of Salt Lake City, Boise, Idaho, parts of New Mexico, and again, other parts of Kansas and Colorado once again, and a frost advisory out into Kansas and parts of northern Texas. That's all for tonight. That frost freeze threat shifts. So today's the 20th as I record this. The 23rd is Thursday. So Thursday and Friday, there's another push of cold air due in here. Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, all in that, West Virginia, with that frost and freeze threat late in the week. We do have a heavy rain area that'll be affecting through the 24th or so. We'll focus in on that, 24th, 25th, focusing on that a little bit more later. High winds set up this weekend across the high plains, and heavy precipitation starts later in the week, along with some significant wave probabilities through late this week through the weekend as well. Let's take a look at the temperature pattern that goes with that. These are high temperatures, and the colors indicate departure from normal. So a little bit hotter than normal in South Texas and through parts of the southeast and through Oregon. But you can see the effects that this is for tomorrow, by the way. These are the cool temperatures coming in behind that low right there. On Thursday, still pretty cool, and a swath from New England and the eastern seaboard straight into Missouri and Kansas, Arkansas. Pretty cool. Jet stream lowering its heights out here in the west, so getting increasingly cooler in the not just the northwest, but much of California as well. And then this pattern sets up where we have a duality where the jet stream is going to, on average, going to be blowing like this. So that's going to encourage warmer temperatures, including 80 degrees in Columbus, Ohio, pretty warm on Saturday, and 91 in Dallas. Meanwhile, it'll only be 62 degrees around Denver, and only highs in the 50s through much of the mountain area as well. And this is through Saturday. And then if we go one day ahead to Sunday and then look from that point into Thursday of next week, 6 to 10 days, again, much of the country is still warming. So even though we're showing you little patches of frost and freeze here and there, generally the pattern for the U.S. is pretty warm still. Again, this is confidence that it'll be above normal. So that's the percentiles over here. So that's pretty high, especially in Minnesota and Wisconsin, and a fairly good confidence it'll be cool through that period in the Pacific Northwest. On the heavy rain side, nothing too bad at first. Now we start going into Thursday, and they're looking at a marginal risk of flash flood guidance being reached through Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Arkansas. This is Thursday. This shifts on Friday a little bit more to the east, but encompasses much of the same areas, really. If I look and specifically at rainfall through that pattern, so Thursday, Friday only, really no rain before that. So you're looking at here, so these purple colors are basically hanging out anywhere between 1.5 inches and 2.5 inches of rain, and you have this little area of red there north of Tulsa, and that's on the 3-inch category. So pretty good rains in an area they could use it, no complaint. I did mean to call out the latest drought monitor, but just suffice it to say that much of this area is drier than it should be, so this is welcome rain. The last rain we got over the weekend was welcome too, but this would still probably not take care of the entire drought, but it would be a step in the right direction. If I just look at the whole country over the next 5 days, this is showing up quite nicely. These are lake effect rains. Not quite cold enough for snow yet, but you can just see the way they band on the southern shore of Lake Superior and on the eastern shore of Lake Michigan and around Lake Erie there, Cleveland. So again, if this were colder, these would be lake effect snows, but the temperature's not quite there yet. But yes, you can get lake effect rain this time of year. There's a narrow window of that. And then this is the heavier precipitation that I showed you in that extended forecast, the beginning of it. This is snow in the higher elevations of Oregon and Washington, and then rain in the lower elevations. And some of that could be racking up over 4 inches or more over the next 5 days. So really that's only counting, let's say, the day 4 and 5 of that. And even beyond that, I think it'll be wet. And that is actually reflected in the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook, which starts this coming Sunday and through much of next week. Again, you can just see this rain area that starts here on Thursday and just kind of gradually moves along. And then it's going to be above normal beginning on Sunday, mostly the early part of this period through Thursday. Patches of wetness in the north and also in the northwest, maybe a little bit dry in West Texas. And the last thing we'll look at is a really high probability, 70% chance or greater, of some sort of tropical development in the Caribbean here. So this is Puerto Rico, this is Jamaica right here, Cuba, of course, Florida right here. So it looks as if the forecasters are continuing to say this is going to develop into something and move basically due west. Does this have the ability to curve north? Looking at the longer range forecast, I see some divisions. Some models want to take it this way, some want to curve it this way, but the ones that curve it this way do so as I'm drawing it. So if that works out, it would not affect the mainland U.S. Thanks for watching this edition of Weather to Watch. It comes out every other day, or as the weather necessitates. Please remember to share this with your friends, subscribe to the channel, or at the very least, like what you just watched. Thanks.